On that, you talk about tricks or tips. So on that note, say if you quantify your journey and you say, okay, in my journey, there's certain tricks or tips that has really helped you gain traction when it comes to uh, sort of moving, keeping the goalpost moving. So can you share some of those tips or tricks that really has helped you?
Yes, yes. I think the most important one is you need to know yourself. You need to know your strength, and you need to know your areas of development. What are the areas where I keep saying over and over again that you need to have the tip of iceberg and depth in certain areas. You cannot know everything in a function. You cannot. You're not Superwoman, Superman. You're just not. So my biggest trick is really to hire people that are smarter than me in areas where I know I'm not going to be the expert, or I'm going to have the tip of knowledge where I know I've said that in an interview. I'm dangerously knowledgeable because I know enough that I can curb and make decisions, right? But to do the entire development, deployment, design of a program or a plan, I need the expertise, right? So I always hire people that are personality like the opposite of me, people that come from different, again, diversity brings a lot of creativity. And, the other thing is like, I am a student of a lifetime. I'm always humbled because I want to learn what the heck is the new thing. We're going through a pandemic. Here in the United States, you feel like, oh, maybe we are seeing the end of this pandemic. But you and I come from Brazil, you come from India. That's not the story right now. We are not seeing the end of the pandemic, and how you as a leader, have to act in a time of a pandemic where we thought, that we would never go through this. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have known that it was about to happen one day, but from one day to the next, we had to change the entire organization, right? We had to be prepared to have tools for employees who were, from 1 second to the end, from 1 second to the next second, they were, inside an apartment, lonely because they didn't have anybody, and start having depression, having burned out, and having like, how are we going to treat all that? Well, you need to be very fast, and grounded to understand, okay, what tools am I going to have here to be able to take care of the psychological safety of this human, right? Did we know this was going to happen this way? No, right? Nobody would think about that. A lot of the divorce happened during the pandemic because people did not, they were like, I like you for 2 hours a day. I don't like you for the entire day, right? And then organizations are just the continuum of their lives, but there's a huge impact if the human being is not treated with respect. It's treated with with tools and ways of being healthy mentally and physically. There's no way that this person is going to be productive for an organization or bring value, because the core of a human being, it's totally unstructured. There's no structure anymore. There's no foundation. So companies cannot think that, oh yes, the value that we have, it is the human capital, but we invest zero. You should never do that, and as a leader within this world, right, that we were going through, right, having empathy as part of who you are, it made me successful for this pandemic that we are still going through.
Yeah.
Right, and taking the decisions from a people standpoint versus just the revenue. The revenue is important because without revenue, there's no people, right?
That's true. So I think last question on the diversity sec, and thank you for helping us understand that. So if you are a diverse candidate today or if you are a diverse wannabe leader that are watching this particular session, what would you say to them? How would they can achieve success without getting hammered by, as you rightly pointed out, the nuances on sort of being a diverse candidate, or stigma that are attached to you, and fighting that stigma and still performing, and if not overperforming, to justify why you should exist in the first place. So what would you tell to the listeners and viewers from the diversity point of view?
Well, there are two things that I find it critical, right? You need to be your authentic self, right? You should not be a chameleon where everywhere you go, you dress to a different persona to accommodate the organization. It's going to kill you one day if you do that over and over and over. But you have to curb some of your cultural nuances, right? Because just we were talking about like how interact female within the Indian society in India, right? It's different. So there is a level of when I'm dealing with a certain specific culture, right? The Asians too. Um, I cannot. I am my authentic self. I bring my values, my system, my passion, my flair and fun. But I have to tune my persona to be respectful towards the other culture. It's be cultural sensitive, right? So if I am starting my career and I just got out of a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, and I'm starting for my first job, right? um, the first thing is try to develop your sensitivity button
Mhm.
of who is in front of you, and be able to understand the cultural nuances. The largest problems we have today, in employee relations in organizations, it's not understanding cultural nuance.
Hmm.
This country is so global, right? You in one organization, you have people from all over that have migrated to the United States, or you have second generation, third generation, or if you are black, you came from a different culture, from a specific area of the United States, and then you're, in a respect and try to understand, put yourself in somebody else's shoes, right?
Hmm.
But don't try to change the core of who you are. The best way to develop, in a society where you don't belong because you're not from here, right? Or you have some of the biases of being a female or a male, or I'm gay, I have disability, I have, whatever, right? Is bring your authentic self, but be sensitive to who is in front of you, and try to tailor the communication so you can really, shine.